Article 3. The last time when we approved the draft of this article, it did not have a not to exceed dollar amount filled in. We have filled in a proposed amount for that. I'm going to ask Cliff to address a little bit about how that came to be through the deliberations of the Budget Committee last Saturday. So I'll have Cliff address that, then we'll take up a motion to see what if anything, we want to do with this. Cliff.
Thanks, Chris. Basically, the discussion at the budget meeting was, at that point in time, we didn't have a dollar value on that article, and the funding for the property will come from several sources, being
we should just clarify that Article 3 relates to requesting the district to authorize us to expend money for the purpose of purchasing land.
Sorry, yes, I kind of
my mistake.
Dove right in.
Go ahead, Cliff. I'm sorry.
So some of the funds will be coming from an open space allocation that has been approved by the open space group. Some from capital reserve money, and as well as some funds from impact fees. And the feeling, well, there's a couple things. One point that they wanted to know is that we were taking advantage of the impact fee money and the open space pieces first, and then drawing into our other funds as available at that point. And they were very concerned that we didn't leave this article with an open-ended amount, so that they could see that, you know, we were going to be confined. Certainly we have to be confined because there's only so much money in the accounts that are there, but their concern was that we had a cap, essentially.
Okay, and what they proposed is, or what they suggested that we consider is a not to exceed dollar amount of $1.65 million, which is really the maximum that we have available to us to purchase land without impacting the tax rate in any way.
Right.
That's basically the intent.
And in fact, if we were to exceed that, that would involve essentially another article to bond for that, but that wouldn't be necessary as the monies are available.
Okay, and I think it's important to note, and this came up as a discussion on the Budget Committee meeting, that we're not saying that we're going to spend this amount of money. It's just that this is the amount of money that's available to us. We're not promising or committing in any way to spend it. It's just that that's gives us the maximum flexibility to do to accomplish the purposes that we believe anyway that the community would like us to accomplish.
Right. There was much discussion at that meeting that the language "not to exceed," or that is a cap, and certainly not a
floor.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Cliff. Any questions for Cliff about those discussions?
I just wanted to clarify. So we do, right, the Capital Reserve Fund has the $1 million in there right now. Do we have slightly over,
Just slightly under, 999,000.
Okay.
It's very close. As you know, if there is a fund balance at the end of this year, one of your warrants will also, so there will be, in like all likelihood at this point, some additional money over $1 million.
Okay.
Any other questions?
The only other comment, Mr. Hawkins, is that there was some one other phrase that was put in there. This article will have no tax impact. That was also a recommendation from the Budget Committee on Saturday, and we included it for your review and approval.
Is that acceptable to?
It is acceptable.
Okay. I was going to clarify to DRA and to everybody, into the attorney?
Well, we haven't sent this back to DRA or to Attorney Lohman, but it's very common practice that there's an explanation following our warrant articles.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion on approving Article 3 as presented here this evening.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Sorry, I gotta spin my head if I just wait to get my attention. Linda, did you have something?
Yeah, should we say up to 1 million, authorize the withdrawal of up to $1 million from the capital reserve fund? So that,
To further stress the point,
right,
I would consider that to be a friendly amendment. I don't,
mhm.
and probably a very wise one. Anybody?
I like that. It adds clarity that that's the third fund source as
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
implicitly.
Thank you. I consider that a formal rather than a substantive amendment, so I wasn't going to entertain I won't bother with a separate motion on that if that's okay.
Mhm.
Any further comment? All those in favor of approving Article 3, subject to Linda's friendly amendment, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Thank you. Now, the other thing, only other article we have to consider this evening is there is a modification to Article 4, which is the article relating to the approval of the proposed teacher's contract. And Kathy, can you give us a brief recap of what the article is and what the change is?
There is no change to Article 4 as you approved from Thursday night. What the
I'm
change
sorry.
was is the addition of Article 5.
I'm sorry.
That article will authorize the school board, should the teacher contract fail in March, that will authorize the school board to hold a special meeting for the purpose of funding a newly agreed, newly negotiated contract. So that gives you the right to do that. It's, again, something that's a safeguard. You had that on your warrant 3 years ago when you had the last teacher contract.
It's
So
just an oversight that it wasn't.
it was an oversight that it didn't get included in last Thursday's package.
I can see quickly looking at it that when you read Article 5, it refers to Article 3. Shouldn't it refer to Article 4?
Mm.
Annette, can you note that?
Mm.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
And just in case they get shuffled around further, just let's make sure that
We did shuffle.
Fine.
That's why that got, thank you.
Okay, why don't we get a motion, then we'll get discussion on the approval of Article 5 as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve Article 5 as presented.
Thank you, Cliff.
Second.
Thank you, Forrest. Discussion?
It's just a common sense
Yeah.
place to be, just in case.
Just in case.
And I would just second that as a common sense. We had another local district that didn't include an article like this recently in last budget season, and had quite the problem getting the renegotiations approved and things like that. They ended up in court and lost the court. The court didn't decide they could even have their special meeting. So this is a prudent idea.
Thank you, Forrest. Further discussion? All those in favor of Article 5 as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. And is there any other business for us to take up relative to the warrant articles this evening, Kathy?
Well,
Aside from the bond hearing.
Cliff, do you have the manifest?
I do. I'll make a motion if I could to accept the total manifest of $307,972.53.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Anything else
No.
this evening? So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the special school board meeting before we roll into the bond hearing.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you, and stay tuned. We'll be back at 7 o'clock for the hearing on the bond warrant articles. Thank you.
Frankie and Institute. Yeah.
Technology.